Hello and welcome back to World of Tanks with Captain Canada. That's me. My Super Pershing. This was the game that War Gaming picked for me as my most awesomest game of 2021. And it's in the Super Pershing, one of my favoriteester tanks. I've played over 500 games in this tank. It's one of my most played tanks. And it went from being kind of lackluster to really good with good armor. Then they debuffed it and they rebuffed it. And it's kind of in a pretty good place now, because I know deep in their hearts they were listening to my video about giving this thing 200 pen, like back when Stalingrad was still in the game. I remember making that video. And finally, they got their crap together and they took my advice in the design department and made the Super Pershing what it deserved to be. So this is on Stajaki, one of my most hated maps, this map, and Paris. I hate both of those maps pretty equally. And I'm into this map because I have encounter turned on, unfortunately. One thing I wish is that you could have encounter battles with tier 8s. I think that would be pretty cool. But that's not happening. Not encounter battles, I think grand battles. So one of the things about the Super Pershing is its accuracy is flaky sometimes. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And in this game, you're going to see I'm going to fire a lot. I'm going to be shooting a lot in this game. There's going to be lots of things to shoot. I'm going to use the gun depression, and I'm going to try and stay at a medium kind of distance away from people, because I find that the further away I can be, the harder it is to pen the Super Pershing's weak spots. It does have several weak spots, but with the dispersion in the game, it isn't the easiest thing to hit the weak spots sometimes. So I'm going to try and put a shot into the side of this heavy tank, and it just manages to not go in. So that's kind of crap, but the game started off a little bit slow in this one, and I'm just trying to peek up and see what I can shoot, and then drop back down. And there was a constant stream of stuff coming over the little depression there and up into the side of the base there. So I'm going to poke over and snap a shot off into the Su-130 PM and try and do that again. And you see, like, that I'm not aiming these shots because I don't want to stay up here for too long, because I know there's a lot of stuff pointed at this hill typically, usually. And I wish the last shot would have been as true as that one, because it would have probably gone in. And I don't mind sometimes just hammering these walls down just so it's a little bit easier to see what's behind them. I mean, I could shoot from third-person view, but I didn't choose to do that this time. And see, again, the snapshotting ability of the Super Pershing, not fantastic sometimes. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. And I'm just trying to do volume firing right now. I'm just trying to get up and fire, and as soon as I'm ready to fire again, I just want to try and smash off as many shots as I could. And the Super Pershing holds a lot of shots, and I have way too many HE rounds in my tank. I don't know why I have 8. I think I may have it set up for when HE was good, as opposed to now where it's complete trash. So I'm managing to bounce off the sides of some of these tanks, which kind of pisses me off. Like, I think that shot probably could have gone in with 200 pen in the side of an IS, but yeah, it is what it is, I suppose. So I'm sitting up here trying not to expose too much of the vehicle, and that was a really terrible shot. That was pretty bad, hey. I got a Kunstpanzer to my left, who's pretty much just doing spotting. I don't think he's doing a lot of firing, because if he fires, he's going to get shot. So I managed to put one into the front of the IS-3A, and I haven't managed to take any actual damage yet, which is pretty surprising since I usually get smashed at some point. So again, we're just popping up, seeing what I can shoot, and this guy decides to just YOLO swag it over the top. And of course the shot doesn't go where I want, it goes into his tracks, but he's just throwing his tank away because he's giving me his total back. So I ended up hitting him and killing him, so good result there. And then over to my right, there is something else that's in the fire, and I can't quite tell what it is. And it's the LT-40. You can see that shot went a little bit high over the little skinny pancake tank. And I'm going to try and hit him again. And honestly, I thought that missed. I don't. Maybe the server lag just caught up. It didn't catch up, and my shot went where he was when he really wasn't there anymore. And See, there's another side shot that didn't go in. It was starting to really piss me off. So at this point, I was like, F this. I'm just going to fire a PCR for the rest of the game. And maybe pressing the 2 key will give me the results that I want. Because I don't know how many shots I've shot in the side. They just get eaten by all the garbage to try and feed War Gaming's premium time machine. And again, I don't know where that shot went. And our Kunstpanzer's up here taking shots. I really wish he wouldn't have just sat there, but he kind of was. And again, that shot, I'm not really fully aiming these shots because I don't want to take damage if I don't need to. And now I'm alone. It's basically just me in the upper northern quadrant of the map. And I'm going to try and pop up here, and you can see the shot's weird. I can see a little bit of the pike nose on the sky. I'm trying to figure out where I can shoot, and that one does go in, which is pretty good. And I'm just going to drop back again and pull up into the bushes because the guys in the town are spotting these dudes. And I'm seeing where I can... Oh, and again, the shot goes high and left. So I can see that there's an object 430, I think this is, or a Basante that's driven in the middle. So now I'm going to try and pound shots on him. I could have switched to AP rounds, which might have been a good idea at this point, but I'm trying to sneak a shot around. And again, the shot goes down and to the left a little bit. And I'm only really moving my turret right now. So that shot went where I wanted. Not too terrible. And I'm just trying to be shooting as fast as I can, putting shots into the back of this tier 9 tank, and I'm going to try and shoot him again here. And I'm still firing APCR, which is probably good because the side of the Object 430 might have been able to bounce my 200 pen. And I don't really have shots at either of those dudes. And we were losing at this point 9 to 8 as far as, or 10 to 8. And I think we were up slightly, or we're fairly equal on hit points. It's not too different. So over here now, I do have a 122TM that has come over, and I'm going to put a shot into our little Basante friend who's pushed all the way through. And I can't really see, I don't want to waste my shots shooting through those bricks because I wasn't sure if they would get eaten up. So I've got all these guys to my left because my 122TM kind of put him in a self-finished spot where he couldn't protect himself. So this guy is going to try and use the wreck of this tank, but he's going to side scrape out rather poorly, and I'm able to put a shot into him and take him out, which was really lucky. I'm really lucky that he decided to kind of over-angle his vehicle, and I was able to shoot up into him. And this is my last premium tank round. And again, I didn't really have a great shot, and then I outscope, and he manages to bounce, and I put another one into him and take him out. And I think I was up to like 3 or 4 kills at this point. And it was me, and we had a Basante and an Object 430, and this guy is going to creep his way around this corner. I was just kind of guessing that he would pop out, so I kind of just pre-aimed and tried not to show as much of my tank as I could. And I was like, okay, he's going to go dark, and then he maybe will pull out. And I just waited. And I waited. And eventually he did, and I shot him. And then he said, okay, I'm spotted, and I'm small, and I'll just try and drive across this gap. So I kind of just pre-aimed in front like that, and the shot rang true, but I now burned all of my APCR rounds, and I've got 4 kills now. And I decide that I'm gonna pull in here and help the Object 430 and the Basante against whatever else is left on the team, which happens to be a Caliban and an E75. So the E75 is going to plaster the Basante in the middle. That was a real bad positioning play by this guy. Like, you got all the different parts in the map, and you want to take on the E75 from the front in a trench. So I decide, okay, it's probably a pretty terrible idea for me to just sit in front of the E75 and decide to try and attack him from there. So what I decide to do is I'll take this one shot here just as a maybe it'll go in sort of shot, and not going to take the chance of my hit points because I might need to trade later on with this guy. So I decide that I'm going to drop back here and fall into this depression here where I can at least use some of the bushes to maybe see if I can get some better idea of if the E75 is going to move up, is he going to go drop back, and the Object 430 is coming around the other flank, and obviously not a terrible player. So I've got a turbo on the super Pershing, which makes it actually fairly livable as a medium tank. Medium slash heavy tank. I treat this thing like a heavy tank basically because the frontal armor is strong. And this is where I managed to catch the E75 completely broadside, and I wish I still had APCR rounds. I'm going to tank a shot here just so I can try and secure this guy, and bammo! Managed to take him out. I was like, yes! I was pretty happy that I ended up smacking down that tier 9 there because I outplayed him. He thought I was still in that area there. He totally gave me his side for 500 of his hit points, and I took him out, which was pretty good. Now, the Object 430 is being pretty careful because he can get smashed by the Caliban. Caliban actually could probably kill me in one hit too if he manages to pen me with some of his overpowered premium rounds, which probably could just slam right through all of my spaced armor. So I'm trying to use the mobility that I do have to get over to help this guy, and I think I brothered arms him so we could get a special medal because we ended up killing half of the enemy team, me and him. So I've got 5 kills at this point, and he's got a few. I think he's got 3. So gonna creep over the edge of the bridge and see if he's gonna go forward, if he's gonna go back. And I'm trying to just get as close as I can without him really letting him know that I'm here. So I can see that the object is gonna go around this way, and I managed to ring one off his chest, and it was a good result. We ended up pegging him. I didn't get the top gun, but I don't care. I wanted to win. I think the object getting the kill at the end was totally cool, and it was good. We ended up taking out the enemy team and doing a good job just with late game plays. And I mean, I had the Basante, I had the WZ, and quite a few tanks all over in the north there, and I managed to not die and hold everything together, and that ended up being a mastery game as well for the super Pershing, which is always nice. Ended up killing quite a lot of tanks and doing, they were around 3,800 damage, 5 kills, which in a super Pershing, which isn't considered to be by a lot of people to be a very good tank, is a pretty decent result, especially when it's a tier 9 game. It's the worst possible matchmaking this thing can receive, and having to fight a lot of heavy tanks. After this game I did fix my my ammo loadout and put in a little bit more APCR rounds and less HE rounds, because they're just, unless you're firing at stuff that's really lightly armored, like Scorpion gun shields and Waffentrager gun shields, I mean, even that stuff's not fully guaranteed to go in, you know, instead of getting you 300 damage, you get 100 damage instead. So, good result. Ended up making quite a lot from that game with that credit booster and the holiday ops stuff that was going on. So that was it. That was a super Pershing game. That was my best game, I guess, according to War Gaming from last year. I had a lot of fun in that game. It was cool being able to outplay people. All right, see you in the next video. Bye-bye.